हेलो। सो आगे हेलो।
हेलो।
हाँ मैडम, आ रही है आवाज तो आ रही है, पर वीडियो नहीं आ रहा आपका।
हाँ जी सर, हाँ जी सर, आपकी भी आवाज क्लियर आ रही है।
हाँ ठीक। हाँ अब आ गया। आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही। हेलो।
हेलो।
हाँ अब आ रही है आपकी आवाज।
डॉक्टर दीपिका, आप प्लीज अनम्यूट हो जाइए।
मैम मैं अनम्यूट दी आवाज मैम।
हाँ अब आ रही है।
शुरू करें मैम?
शुरू करें सर?
हाँ हाँ शुरू करें।
ठीक है ठीक है
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकारेषु सर्वदा. Good morning and a warm welcome to you all. Today, I feel obliged while hosting our 8th day of Unstoppable webinar, Ayush Vibhodhini. I, Dr. Deepika Bhandari, working as Assistant Professor in Agatantra Department in Srimati Urmila Devi Ayurvedic College of Medical Sciences and Hospital, Hoshiarpur. First of all, I would like to thank our respected Chairman, Sir, Dr. Engineer Amarjit Singh Walia, for supporting and encouraging us to go ahead with this webinar series. Now, I would like to thank our respected Principal Ma'am, Dr. Meenakshi Nath, for her continuous support, and in the end, I would also thank our Vice Principal Ma'am, Dr. Mridu Sharma, for her enthusiastic approach towards the series. Being the head coordinator of the Ayush Vibhodhini, I am also thankful to all my faculty members who were constantly supporting me all the time. Last but not the least, I welcome our affable delegates. Now, I request our respected Principal Ma'am, Dr. Meenakshi Nath, for her blessings and her words of wisdom. I personally thanks ma'am for giving me this opportunity. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Deepika. Good morning, everyone. चरक जयंती के इस पावन महोत्सव पर आप सभी को बहुत बहुत बधाई एवं इस मंगल कामना के साथ हम इस पावन दिवस की शुरुआत करते हैं कि महर्षि चरक के द्वारा दी गई दिव्य फिर भी सुलभ चिकित्सा द्वारा हम जनमानस को व्याप्त हो रही शारीरिक एवं मानसिक व्याधियों से मुक्त कर सके। आयुर्वेद के गौरवशाली इतिहास को हम गौरवशाली वर्तमान एवं गौरवशाली भविष्य में बदल सके। एक बार फिर से महर्षि चरक को नमन करते हुए हम आज का सत्र शुरू करने की तरफ एक कदम और आगे बढ़ते हैं और श्रीमती उर्मिला देवी आयुर्वेदिक महाविद्यालय की तरफ से मैं आयुर्विबोधिनी वेबिनार सीरीज में आप सबका हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। मुझे पूर्ण आशा है कि आयुर्वेद मंथन के इस कार्यक्रम में हम सभी अपनी योग्यता के अनुसार अमृत बुंदियों को प्राप्त करेंगे। आज के इस विशेष दिवस पर जिन वक्ता के विद्वत विचार हम सुनेंगे वो भी विशेष ही हैं। हमारे बीच आज उपस्थित हैं डॉक्टर जरम सिंह सर, जो कि अपने विषय के प्रकांड विद्वान हैं, प्रकांड ज्ञाता हैं, और मैं आपकी बहुत आभारी हूं सर कि आपने हमारे अनुग्रह को सहर्ष स्वीकार किया एवं हमारे लिए अपना बहुमूल्य समय निकाल कर दिया। सर, हमें पूर्ण आशा है कि आज का ये सत्र हम सबके ज्ञान में वृद्धि करेगा। आपका फिर से एक बार बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। डॉक्टर दीपिका।
We are grateful to you for your guidance. And now I welcome our keynote speaker of the day and bright star of Ayurveda field, Dr. Jaram Singh sir, Professor and HOD in PG Department of Agatantra in Rajiv Gandhi Government PG Ayurvedic College, Paprola. My heartfelt thanks goes to you, sir, to accept our invitation in a single phone call and in such a short notice, and give us a privilege to listen your views on the topic mechanical injuries. He is quite hardworking. He had done his UG in 1986 and served in HP government as Ayurvedic medical officer in 1990, and he completed his MD in Dravyaguna in the department Dravyaguna from Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar. And in 2003, he appointed as the assistant professor in Agatantra department at Rajiv Gandhi Government Postgraduate Ayurvedic College, Akola. He also remained member in CCIM in 2014 to 2016. Due to his hard work, now presently he is professor and head of the department in Agatantra department in Rajiv Gandhi PG Ayurvedic College, Pakola. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Without going into any formalities, I'll thank Srimati Urmila College chairman, principal, especially Deepika Bhandari madam, and now I'll share my PPT. I think it is for students. Here is my topic. It's on mechanical. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Topic of my deliberation is mechanical injuries. So we'll take mechanical injury. Going into mechanical injury, first we'll discuss what is injury. So definition of injury is, there are two definitions. One is medical and other is legal. So medical definition is breach or dissolution of the natural continuity of any tissue of the body. It is medical definition, whereas legal definition is described in 44 IPC, under section 44 IPC, that says any harm whatever caused illegally to a person, that is to his body, mind, reputation and property, is a injury. So there is a great difference between medical definition and the legal definition. Medical definition is only concerned with the physique of a person. If it is a physical injury, only then it is injury, whereas legal definition constitutes your mental makeup, if it is tortured mentally, or if it is tarnishing your reputation, or if it is loss of a property, then legally it is covered under section 44 of IPC. And if it is illegal, that means if a surgeon is performing operation and he is giving incision, that is not injury. If it is illegally done, then it is injury. This is the main difference between the two definitions. You must know about the hurt, then hurt, and what is grievous hurt, because when you will go into the field or somewhere dispensary, you will come across these terms. You will have to file MLC, etc. Then you will be prescribed to give the grievous hurt. So you must know what is hurt and what is grievous hurt. That hurt comes under section 319 IPC. That is, hurt means any bodily pain, disease or infirmity caused to any person. It is of two types. One is simple hurt, other is grievous hurt. Simple hurt is not defined in law. However, an injury which is neither extensive nor serious and which heals rapidly without leaving any permanent deformity or disfiguration is considered as simple hurt. Or the injury which is not covered under grievous hurt, that is simple injury. So what is grievous hurt then? That means, so grievous hurt comes under section 320 IPC and it is defined under different 8 clause. So this is a legal term and these are the in a particular sequence, these 8 clause. First clause says emasculation. That means loss of a masculine power, and that also means it belongs to men only. If there is a loss of masculine power because of any injury to the vertebral column or pudendal nerve is damaged and he is not able to perform sexual act, then it is called as emasculation, and it comes under section 320 IPC, first section. And then second says permanent privation of the sight of either eye. So either eye is if permanently lost because of any injury, then it comes under 322. That may be because of, although that is a temporary injury that may be rectified later on, but it comes under a grievous hurt. Then third clause says permanent privation of the hearing of either ear. If there is any loss to the hearing of either ear, then it comes under section 323. Similarly, fourth clause says privation of any member or joint. Member is structural and functional unit of a body. If suppose there are two testicles, there is a loss to one testicle, it is not covered under Emasculation Act. And if it is lost, there is a castration act or something, injury to the one testicles, then it will be covered under section 4. Similarly, fifth is destruction or permanent impairing of the power of the any member or joint. So one is a structural loss, other is a functional loss. So those comes under these things. Then sixth is permanent disfiguration of head or face. So if there is any injury to the face or head, then it comes under clause 6. Here there is explanation of the injury to the head and face. There is laxity between the, it depends upon the lawyer and the judge, either they punish under section this, because if a one young girl who is a stage actor or actress, he has to perform his life, or he's dependent on the livelihood upon his face or head, then it comes under grievous hurt. And if it is a labor class old age wrinkled face and there is injury over that face, then maybe the judge may not give it under 326. So there is little this type of difference. Then seventh is fracture or dislocation of the bone or tooth. If there is a fracture or dislocation of the tooth, it comes under section 7 of 320 IPC. And eighth is there is any hurt which endangers life or which causes the sufferer to be during the period of 20 days in a severe bodily pain or unable to follow the normal pursuits ordinarily, that is 328. That means if there is a multiple contusion over a body, although they are not dangerous in other clauses, and person is not able to perform his normal routines, that is cannot go to the toilet, cannot brush itself, cannot change its clothes for 20 days, then it comes under section this 8. If person is not covered in all other these clauses, then he may come in this 8th clause. So this is the grievous hurt. You must know about the hurt and grievous hurt. Now we will switch on to the mechanical injuries. A wound is caused by mechanical force, which may be either a moving weapon or object or the movement of the body itself. So that means either body is striking to the weapon or weapon is in a speed and that strikes to the body, that causes mechanical injuries. So in mechanical injuries are of 8 types. They are abrasion, bruise or contusion, lacerations, incised wound, punctured wound, fracture or dislocation of a bone, tooth or joint, and firearm wounds. So these first 3, abrasion, bruise and laceration, comes under blunt force injuries, whereas this incised wound is sharp injuries, and punctured wound is again pointed or sharp injuries. And fracture dislocation may be caused by rough or blunt wounds, and firearm wounds is sheer pressure of the or a speed of a weapon that comes through the muzzle and forming the injuries. Then first we'll take up the abrasion. So abrasions are the simple injuries to superficial layer of the skin, usually the epidermis, by friction against a rough surface, also called as gravel rash or road rash, or sometimes this is called as traffic injuries or road injuries. Features of these abrasions are, in nutshell, they are pure abrasions involved only in epidermis, that is superficial layer of the skin. Abrasions ordinarily do not bleed, and there are no scar formation after healing the abrasions because they are to the superficial, but they are seldom alone. They are along with the contusion and the laceration most of the times. Then these are types of the abrasion. How many types of abrasion? There are scratch or linear abrasions. They are caused by the sharp or pointed object such as fingernails, thorn or pin. Surface layers of the skin are collected at the terminal end, denotes direction of the application of the force, seen in throttling, sexual assaults and child abuse. When there is a simple scratch then it is called as scratch or linear abrasion. This is a feature of a abrasion, a very important feature that tells the application of force and also the direction of application force and the relative position of the assailant to the victim. This because of scratch, the superficial skin is peeled off and it collects at the terminal end. Because of that, it can be identifiable. Next is graze or gravel rash or grinding abrasions. Grazes are caused by horizontal or tangential frictions between skin and the hard rough surface. They shows uneven longitudinal parallel lines which indicates the direction in which the force was applied, commonly seen in road traffic accidents. In these cases, in these injuries, particles of the glass, gravel or dirt may be embedded in these wounds because it is caused on the road or on any surface or path. Then all those evidences will be there in the wounds. These are the multiple linear abrasions. Next is pressure abrasion or crushing or the friction abrasions. It is caused by direct impact or linear pressure of a rough object over the skin. The slight movement directed inwards results in crushing the superficial layers of the cuticles and bruising underneath. For example, noose or ligature in hanging and strangulation that cause the pressure abrasions. Although contusion will be there, but we are just concerned here up to abrasion. Then imprint abrasion or impact or contact pattern abrasions. It is caused when force is applied perpendicular to the skin. The cuticle gets crushed at the point of the impact and bears the imprint of the object causing it. From the design imprinted on the abraded area, the weapon of the offense can be guessed. For example, abrasion caused by cuticle, cycle chain, automobile grill, or tire of the wheel. Here it is a summarized form of all the types of the abrasions. These are the direction, tells linear abrasion, tells the direction of application of force. The graze abrasion, collective form of a linear abrasion. Then crescent nail scratches, they are also these abrasions, scratch abrasions. Imprint abrasions of the teeth bite. Then imprint abrasion of the radiator grill. And pressure abrasion of the ligature mark on the throat. They are the types of the abrasions. Now, age of the abrasion. How do we assess the age? So fresh abrasion, they are bright red, tender, and oozing of the serum and some blood is there. When it gets older, 2 to 24 hours in one day, exudation dries to form a reddish scab. In 2 to 3 days, that reddish brown scab turns brown a little bit and is less tender. Tenderness is less. And on 4th and 5th day, scab is dark brown in color. By 5th to 7th day, scab brownish black and starts falling off from the margins. By 7 to 12 days, scab dries up and shrinks and falls off, leaving deep pigmented area. And this deep pigmented area remains for 2 weeks. Then next is, here is, slide has stopped. Here, there is the image of the abrasion or different period of time. Fresh, then after 1 day, 2 days, accordingly these slides are there. Then circumstances of the abrasions. What are circumstances of abrasion? Usually seen in accidents and assaults. And abrasions on the face or body of the assailant indicate a struggle. Abrasions may be produced on hands in a conscious persons who, while falling, puts out his hands to save himself, or while working in a courtyard of rows, or while performing any domestic activity, may be affected with, maybe or hurt with this abrasion. Or sometimes hysterical women may produce abrasion over accessible areas like the front of the forearm or over the face to fabricate charges of salt or to draw attention. In hysterical patients, usually this is found most of the time. She wants to draw her attention toward herself. So in that attempt, she may give this abrasion to herself. Then what are the medical legal importances of the abrasions? Abrasion give idea about sites of the impact and direction of the force. The nature of the injury also tells it. Abrasions are superficial injuries and are mostly simple in nature. However, they may be of only external signs of the serious internal injuries. We may not say that they are always simple injuries. Sometimes a bruise or the contusion or sometimes fracture may be there underneath. So abrasion over cornea may cause corneal opacity, which may restrict vision permanently, amounting to grievous hurt. That comes under section 320 IPC, as we have discussed earlier also. Patterned abrasions are helpful in connecting the wound with the causative weapons. Age of the injury can be determined, which helps to collaborate with alleged time of salt. So when it has been occurred, that can be collaborated with the age of the injury. In open wounds, dirt, dust, grease, or sand is usually present, which helps to connect the injuries to the scene of crime. Then another medical legal importance is characters and the manner of the injury may be known from the distribution. That is, in throttling, precentric abrasions made by fingernails are found on the neck. Usually throttling is over the neck. It's compressed with the force, so nail imprints gets imprinted over the neck. Abrasion on the victim may show whether the fingernails of the assailants were long, irregular, or broken. This is experts' job. Forensic experts, they are able to detect whether it is the assailant's fingers nails are long or broken, or with the type of the scratch over the body of the victim. In smothering, abrasions may be seen around the mouth and nose. As you know, smothering is closing the mouth and nose simultaneously with the reinforcement of the other hand. So when you are giving the shear pressure over the mouth, the nail imprints will be found, or the injuries will be, or abraded area will be over the face. Then in sexual assaults, abrasions may be found on the breast, genitalia, inside of the thigh, and around the arms. This is one of the medical legal importance of the abrasions. Then now next mechanical injury, that is bruise or contusion. Bruise is the extravasation of the blood in the subcutaneous or subepithelial tissues due to the rupture of the blood vessels, usually capillaries, as a result of blunt force injuries. So usually there is no loss of continuity of the overlying skin in bruise, but it is felt with the raised area and the tenderness of the area. So what are the causes of the bruises? By application of the blunt force, such as blow with fist, sticks, iron bar, cane, whip, or chain, from compression like pressing fingers, that is in case of infants or delicate people or a delicate woman, when it is hand is pressed or arm is pressed with a sheer force, the bruise, the finger pulp may produce the bruises over the arms. Then medical intervention sometimes produces bruise with the IV injection, etc., or sometimes manipulating the fracture, etc., may produce the bruise. These are some of the photos of the bruises, different bruises. Then classification of the bruise. Bruise is classified in the 3 types depending on its situation. First is intradermal bruise. Bruise lies in the immediate subepidermal layer made by impact with the patent object, and hemorrhages is sharply defined as in the imprint abrasions. Then subcutaneous bruises. It is situated in subcutaneous tissues, often in a fatty layer, and the edges are blurred. Most common types of the bruises caused by blunt objects and appear soon after injuries. Although all other bruises which has a raised area and are tender, they come under this category. Then third category is deep bruises. Bleeding deeper to the subcutaneous tissues, it may take hours to 1 to 2 days to appear at the surface. They are also called as delayed bruising or the ectopic bruise. Therefore, one more examination should be carried out after 24 to 48 hours after first examination. Because of these delayed appearance of these bruises, person may or victim may be examined on second day also. What are the factors which influence the bruise? They are the type of the tissues or the site involved. Large bruises may be produced with the little force. They are on the soft, lax, and vascular tissues. For example, on face, scrotum, or eyelids, where tissues are soft, with a little injury, there may be the large bruise. Conversely, in other areas, small bruises with moderate forceful impacts in firm, fibrous tissues with strong spots and covered with thick dermis, for example, in abdomen, back, scalp, palm, or soles. Bruises are less as compared to the force or the pressure used. Bruises of the scalp are better felt than seen. They are felt on over the scalp area because of the hair, because of tenderness. They are felt very good, and and because of the raised area. Bruising is more marked on tissues overlying bone. Then chronic alcoholics with cirrhosis and individuals taking aspirin bruise easily. Age. Next factor is age. Children and elderly bruise more easily because of these children are delicate with delicate tissues, and skin is delicate, tissues are delicate, and in old persons there are subcutaneous supportive tissues are lost, and the cardiovascular changes in these older persons. Next factor is sex. Women tends to bruise more easily than men because of the delicacy and more subcutaneous fatty tissues. So women bruises more rapidly than men. Then color of the skin. This is also one of the factor. Bruising is more clearly seen in fair color persons as compared to the darker skin persons. Dark skin is it is more felt than seen. Natural diseases. Prominent bruising following minor trauma is seen in persons suffering from atherosclerosis, purpura hemorrhagica, leukemia, hemophilia, scurvy, vitamin K, and prothrombin deficiency, and the phosphorus poisoning. In these cases, it will be bruised easily or more rapidly. Other factor is ectopic or migratory bruises. It is responsible for the appearance of the bruise at a site other than the site of the injury. For example, black eye. In black eye, injury is over a head or scalp, and it trickles down to the eye or eyelids. Blood trickles down to the area with least resistance and may appear where the tissue layers become superficial. The site of the bruise does not always indicate the site of injury. Injury may be somewhere else, and it appears over the dependent area at the lax tissues. So this is the photograph of this black eye, that is the shifting of the bruise from the head to the eyelids. That means there is a grave injury over the head. Then patterned bruise. Patterned intradermal bruise is due to the impact with a hard patterned object with ridges and grooves. So the object which has ridges and grooves, they will form a patterned imprint over the body. Bruise may indicate the nature of the weapon, especially when death occurs soon after the infliction of the injury. Then blow with a rod, stick, or a whip produce two parallel linear hemorrhages. They are also called as railway line or tram line bruising or types. So another is a woven spiral or plaited ligatures may produce a patterned bruise over the neck, and suction or biting on a sides of the neck or the breast during lovemaking or sexual activity produces elliptical patterned bruises. These are the patterned bruises in run over by the vehicle. They are tire marks over the, they are dangerous. Then dating of the bruise or age of the bruise. Consistent, reliable microscopic dating is not possible, and color changes in resolution of the contusion is not always a reliable indicator of its age. So these changes have been told if it is of a regular nature. Fresh bruise is red because of oxygenated blood and warm, slightly raised above surrounding area, and few hours after 2 to 3 days, what is the feature of the bruise? They are turned into the indigo or bluish color because of the deoxygenated blood, and after 4th, 5th day, they turn bluish black to brown because of the action of the hemosiderin enzyme. And on 5th, 6th day, they turn greenish because of the hematoidin enzyme. And on 7th to 12th day, they turn yellowish because of the bilirubin enzyme. And with 2 weeks, they comes to the normal position, that is orange color. So another factor also described in somewhere, that you must know that whip gear, that is the color of this satrangi or you can use that color. R is taken first and other in a sequence, that is also this color of the bruise. If you cannot remember these color changes in this way, you can learn by that sequence. This is some of the features of the color changes chronological: fresh, and then after 2 days, then after 4 days, and later on. Then medical legal importance of bruises is, it is advisable to re-examine bruise after 24 hours for clear opinion. As I have said, ectopic bruises appear later on. Then age of the injury can be determined by color changes, as we have just seen in previous slide. Pattern bruise may connect the victim and the object and the weapon. With the pattern wound, we can connect the victim to the object. Okay, with which object or with which weapon it has been formed. Nature of the injury, mostly it is homicidal in nature. Bruises are, because they are painful, so oneself they cannot produce. Sometimes accidentally there may be there, but mostly they are homicidal. Contusions can be produced post-mortem by giving a severe blow just after death. Within 2 to 3 hours, if pressure with the greater force applied, then contusion can be produced post-mortem. Otherwise, it is not possible that post-mortem bruises can be there, because there will not be a live reactions. Then sometimes doctors need to differentiate bruise from post-mortem staining. So post-mortem staining is always on the dependent part, and that is uniform or bilateral both sides, whereas bruises will be there where a weapon has been striked. So that is very differentiable. So bruise may be fabricated using organic irritants for ulterior motives or in defense of the crime. So bruises can be made with this milk of the auk or calotropis, और समटाइम दिस सेमिकार्पिस एनाकार्डियम लावा के ऑयल से भी ये जो ब्रूजेस है दे कैन बी फॉर्म्ड, but there will be another feature, there will be itching also, and there will be blist formation with the artificial bruises, whereas in this bruises there will not be itching or blister formation. Then laceration, next mechanical injury is laceration. Blunt, hard and rough injuries extending deep to the subcutaneous tissues, leaving permanent scar. Again, they are blunt injuries. They are formed to the underneath the deeper tissues. Abrasion to the deeper tissues is the laceration. Split laceration, stretch laceration, avulsion and tear and cut lacerations are the forms of the lacerations. Mostly accidental. Their lacerations are mostly accidental. Wound soiled with dust, mud or sand, grit, etc. tells the place of incidence. These are the photographs of the laceration telling these are tissues tags are lying on the floor of the tissues. They are not clean cut. There are abraded and contused margins. So they tell the story about the lacerations. Types: split lacerations, when soft tissues are sandwiched in between the hard underlying deeper structures and the agent applying the force, sites being scalp, forehead, eyebrows, zygoma, iliac crest, lower jaw, perineum, and shins, where bones are underneath and soft tissues are in between. They are affected mostly where with this linear force or some striking with a weapon, there will be the tissue will be split apart, and that is called as split lacerations. Then stretch lacerations, they results from the heavy forceful frictional impact of blunt forces exercising localized pressure with pull. There is pressure with pull over a local area and that gets stretched, and that is called as stretch lacerations. Overstretching of the skin and cutaneous tissues may cause lacerations with flapping of the skin, which may indicate the direction of application of the force with the flap, this direction of the flap. The next type is avulsion or grinding compression, produced by shearing force delivered at an oblique or tangential angle to detect tear off a portion of traumatized skin or tissue from their attachment, commonly seen in road traffic accidents, amputation injuries, or in decapitated cases. Avulsion is a taking skin away from its with the this object of weapon or which is causing the injury. Then tear, another lacerated type is tear. Tearing of the skin and subcutaneous tissue can occur from loose impact against some hard, irregular object like car door handles, radiator, muskets, or from blows from broken glass bottles. So these are the some of the tears they are produced by the rough objects. So it is over the localized area. So these are some of the tears. Then cut lacerations are also there, one of the type that is produced sometimes by a heavy, they are not so sharp weapons, cause a deep or the wide cut over the body, and margins of that the cut lacerations are abraded and contused, and sometimes they are not clean cut because of not so sharp weapons, they are called as cut lacerations. Then what are the characters of the lacerations? Their margins, they are ragged. Lacerated margins are ragged, irregular, and uneven, may show tissue tags, and sites they occurs most commonly over bony prominences, as you have just seen in previous slide, stretch and imprint lacerations or cut lacerations. Bruising and abrasions seen around the margins in these lacerated area because they are because of the blunt forces and because of shear force. So there will be bruising and abrasion over the margins also. Depth of the wound shows bridges of the irregularly torn fibrous tissues, blood vessels, nervous across the interior of the wound. Then next is soiling of the wound. Wound is always soiled with the mud, wood splinters, sand, glass fragments, or paints materials of the vehicle involved. Hair or fibers may get embedded in the wound and are of great medical importance. So laceration is always found over a area, the scene of crime, on scene of crime, these areas on with which object this laceration is formed, the part of that object is being found in the lacerated wounds. So they tell the story about the scene of crime as well as the this weapon of offense. Then hair bulbs are always crushed in lacerated area because they are not sharp weapons, they are always rough and blunt weapons. So always hair bulbs are crushed. Hemorrhages in lacerations are relatively less because the end of the arteries and veins are crushed and collapsed, so they are readily clotted, and except in split and cut lacerations. In split lacerations, there will be a splitted apart tissues. So similarly, in cut lacerations also tissues will be cut apart, so hemorrhages may be more as compared to the other lacerations. Then gapping, that is seen due to the pull of the elastic and muscular tissues. So muscular tissues get stressed or elastic tissues, so there will be more gapping in the tissues. On healing, that is produced permanent scar. So permanent scar is produced on healing. Antemortem lacerations shows bruising of the margins, vital reactions eversion and gapping of the margins. But these features will not be there in post-mortem lacerations. Post-mortem laceration may not be like this. There will not be any gapping of the margin, or there will be eversion of the wounds. So these are some of the photographs of the laceration area. This is stretch laceration with the heavy forceful impact of stretching. That will be cause stretch laceration, and this is split laceration with the linear weapon striking against the hard bony surface of the skin. It splits up readily in the two part. So this is the split lacerations. Then dating or of lacerations or healing of the lacerated wounds. The duration is fresh laceration areas that the gross finding will be there in the form of a bleeding or fresh clot is attached. Margins are red, swollen and tender. As I have already told you, the clotting will be earlier as compared to the incised wound. So the clot will be there in fresh lacerated wounds. By 12 hours to 24 hours, margins will be swollen, red and covered with the dried blood clots and limps. By 3 to 5 days, margins strongly adhered with each other and covered by dried crust. By 6 to 7 days, crust or scrap falls off or can easily be taken off. Soft reddish tender scar will be there. And in few weeks, scar is whitish, firm and painless. There will be a depigmented area remains for other many years. Experts may be able to differentiate these. So this is the timing in case of a non-infected or less infected cases. If it is infected, and then there will not be this duration or healing of the wound will not be take this pattern. The medical legal importance of the lacerations. The type of lacerations may indicate the cause of injury and shape of the blunt weapon. Nature of injury. Laceration may be simple injury, but underlying fracture or the injury to the vessels, nerves, muscles and organs should be ruled out before giving opinion. In case of a MLC cases, then lacerated scar over face or extensive scar after healing of the lacerations over joint restricting movement is the grievous hurt, as we have already discussed 320 IPC. So laceration is mostly accidental than homicidal and rarely suicidal. So this is always laceration is accidental. Foreign matter in the wound may give clue about the object causing it. For example, paint material of a vehicle may be transferred to the lacerated wound. So vehicle may be identifiable that such and such vehicle has caused that lacerated wound to a victim. Similarly, skin flap which overhangs the cut margins, that is also called as avulsion lacerations, can indicate the direction of applications of the force. It is from the opposite side of this overhanging of the margins of the skin. So now we will start with incised wound. So this is sharp injury wounds. Incision is a clean cut wound through the tissues which is more long than deep and caused by a sharp edged instruments like knife, dagger, razor, blade, sword, axe or tangi, etc. They are produced, incised wounds are produced by drawing force, either drawing a weapon or seesaw-like movements from here and there movement, or by striking. If it is a heavy weapon, then it is formed, incised wound is formed by way of a striking force. Then what are the characteristics of this incision wounds? Margins of the incised wounds are clean cut margins, well defined and usually everted, free from abrasion and contusion. There will not be abrasion or contusion over the margins because weapon is a sharp that readily divide the tissues into two parts, and because of the tensile force they will be everted slightly. And always length is maximum in the incised wound. Length is greater than its width and depth. Has no relation with the cutting edge of the weapon except in heavy weapons used by striking force. So the blade of the weapon, how long it is, that is not related to the length of this wound. So length is always greater, but it is not related with the blade which affects this incision. Then width is greater than thickness of the edge of the weapon used due to the retraction of the divided tissues. So always the thickness of the width of the incised wound is not always resemble with the thickness of the edge of the weapon, because of the tensile force of a divided tissues, it's always wider than the weapon. Then depth, usually it's deeper at the commencement and deepest in the center and shallow towards the terminal end. It tells the direction of application of force, and it is also called as tailing of the wound. Next feature is tailing, that is described. Here I have, and this is very important feature of the incised wound, that is called as tailing. Tail-like structure is found in incisions because of the light and sharp weapon. When caused by way of drawing, this terminal and shallow, thinnest and least deep, with the help of a light weapon. It is formed with the help of a light weapon, and mostly these types of wounds are suicidal in nature. It is formed by oneself itself. So that is called as tailing of weapon, tail-like structure. Then another feature of the incised wound is beveling. When weapon used tangentially, there is a flapping of one margin of the wound. It is found with the heavy weapon, relatively heavy or moderately heavy weapon. If when weapon is striking tangentially or at an angle, the skin flap of one side is overturned, or sometimes it is overturned. That tells the story, and it suggests the homicidal nature of a wound, and also tells the relative position of the assailant to the victim, as well as direction of application of the force. And this is also important feature of the incised wound. Another feature is hesitation cuts or tentative cuts. There are multiple superficial parallel cuts, suggest indecisive state of the mind, found in suicidal cases. Most of the cases, suicidal cases, there will be a multiple or parallel hesitation or the superficial cuts with the one fatal wound. They are called as hesitation or tentative cuts. And if they are found, that means death is a suicidal death. It is because of this death is by oneself. Then hemorrhage, as vessels are sharply cut and incised wound bleeds more. So when vessels will divide apart, so there will be more hemorrhages. So these are some of the photographs of the incised wound. They are when weapon strikes straight. So this type of wound is formed, and if it is taken towards down drawing because of drawing force, first A and B is formed with the striking force of the weapon, and D is formed with the this drawing of the weapon, striking and drawing towards the lower end. Then it tells the tailing of the weapon. Similarly, another photograph is of a dagger or a big knife. The incision shows the beveling if it is striking at an angle. This is called beveling of the wound. Here it is tailing of wound and hesitation cuts. This is called a tail-like structure at the terminal end. It shows the terminal area. This is the terminal. It tells that this is terminal area. That means weapon has been drawn toward that area. So assailant will be standing toward this. There will be a relative position of the victim to the assailant. That means assailant will be standing toward this area. Similarly, here they are hesitation cuts. They are healed hesitation cuts. Smaller, they are healed area. So they are because of the suicidal attempt. These are some of the photographs of the incision wounds. Some of this is healed incision wounds. There are some of the photographs taken from the net. Now we'll discuss the dating of the incised wound. duration and the features. Then fresh incised wound, they bleed. Their bleeding is still present, reddish with the clotted blood. And by the 12 hours, the incised wounds margins will be red, swollen, and adherent with blood and lymph. By 24 hours, these continuous layer of the endothelial cells cover the surface with the scab of the dried clots. There will be a neovascularization start. By 24 hours, neovascularization will start. By 2 to 3 days, reddish brown color of the incised wound. Edges are the weakly adherent. Capillary network will be complete by 2 to 3 days. By 4 to 6 days, edges are firmly adherent. Many vessels obliterate. Scar formation starts. By 7th day, scar formation is complete, and this incised wound gets healed. That's why when we give stitches in this operation, the stitches will be removed after 7 days if it is non-infected. Next is medico-legal importance of this incised wounds. These gives an idea about the direction of application of force. That is by way of tailing and beveling. As we have already discussed, tailing and beveling tells the direction of application of force, and that direction of application of force also tells the relative position of the assailant to the victim. Then age of the injury can be determined by this incised wound, as we have already discussed. Nature of the injury, rarely life-threatening because they are superficial injuries, but if it is over the vital parts, then they are life-threatening. But if it is over a muscular area or some this vital areas, then they are not life-threatening because they seldom penetrate deeply. However, incised wounds over wrist, neck, or elsewhere is superficial major blood vessels present, they are fatal. As you know, there will be a radial artery over the wrist, and this jugular vein and jugular arteries, or these on the neck, they are fatal over these areas. And in other muscular area, back, sole, or they are not that much fatal. And another medical importance is incised wounds are mostly suicidal in nature. They are if they are formed, and if you are seeing the hesitation cuts as well as tailing of the wound, it suggests that just a minute, my battery is on, so just a minute. Kanu, battery चली गई. Laptop battery is going, so just sorry for interruption or for waiting. Yes, now I'm back. So we are discussing the nature of injury. So incised wounds are mostly suicidal in nature. Their hesitation cuts or tailing is there. Then next, homicidal, and rarely accidental incised wounds. Accidental incised wounds are also there. If someone is working with the axe or cutting the wood, incised wound may be formed over the foot, or if they are working with a sickle, and they may be formed over the hand. Then homicidal incised wounds are seen on the head and the front of the neck, and sometimes on the trunk. The incised wounds on nose, ear, and genitals are usually homicidal. On sexual offense cases, they are seen sometimes. Accidental incised wounds are seen around the hands and feet, with working with the weapons of the domestic weapons. And now we'll discuss the defense wounds. Defense injuries are seen on the forearm or the posteromedial part of the forearm or the palm, when the victim tries to ward off an attack by raised hand and arms in defense, or by grabbing the weapons. Defense wounds are always homicidal in nature. So when person wants to ward off the attack, always they raise their hand over their head, and these type of the injuries are formed over the postal side of the hand or posteromedial side of the arms. These are called as defense wounds. Now, another type of incised wounds are self-inflicted or fabricated wounds. Sometimes injuries may be caused by an individual with a mental disorders as a form of self-mutilations, or by one who deliberately harms oneself for motives of the gain, or sometimes to implicate your enemy. They are found either on the approachable part of the body or other part with the help of the like-minded friend, or to bring a false charges of the assault against an enemy. The other reasons to produce fabricated wounds are to alter the appearance of an injury, to attract more importance, or in case of a assailant, to alter the appearance of a wound sustained by him during a criminal act, so that he cannot be linked with the act. So these are self-inflicted and fabricated wounds, to fabricate those wounds so that, say, this assailant may not be caught in the court of law. Similarly, choke wounds are also incised wounds. Choke wounds are incised wounds produced by striking with sharp cutting heavy or the moderately heavy weapons like axe, chopper, tangi, katari, kukri, sword, etc. These wounds are comparatively deeper and broader than incised wounds. Abrasions and bruises may be produced at the margins due to the friction with the surface of thick and heavy blades. These wounds usually have beveling also. When axe or the tangi-like weapons is in use, there is deeper heel end nearer to the assailant and distal toe end that tells the relative position of the assailant and the victim. Choke wounds are mostly homicidal in nature. So this is the photograph of the choke wound. This is the heel end, and this is the toe end. So assailant will be standing towards the heel end. So that is identifiable with the chopping wound. And with chopping, there will be sometimes the decapitation and sometimes the total severance of the part. So this is also a type of a incised wound. So this is about the incised wound. So thank you. This is about the healing. Now, if there is any question, please, you are most welcome. Dr. Deepika.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you,
Was
sir,
it useful?
for spending your precious time.
Oh, no, thank you, thank you.
Now, our next webinar will be held on the 14th of August on 11 a.m. by Dr. Soni Kapil in the Department of Prasuti Tantra. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
If there is any question of your student, then it's welcome.
Any
if
questions?
Any student wants to ask something.
So no, there is no questions.
Okay, madam. Thank you. It's
Okay,
over.
thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay,
Thank you so
okay.
much.
Thank you so much, sir.